This is TechVibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. Welcome to TechVibe Radio. This is Jonathan Kirsting. So happy to be hanging out with you this Sunday morning. It is my absolute passion to talk with the coolest companies here that are just driving success in Pittsburgh. As we all know, the technology industry in Pittsburgh just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And we just released our State of the Industry report a couple weeks ago. And I got some great news for everybody because our numbers keep going up. You know, we are now 25% of the economy, and we are over 30-something% of its wages, which to us is really exciting. It just goes to show you how tech is just a cornerstone, a keystone here in Pittsburgh. And one of the companies driving that growth is Aspirant, a Wavestone company. And I always have a hard time saying that because I'm not used to the new owner, Wavestone, but it's been a while. But if you don't know Aspirant, a Wavestone company, they've been around since 2003. And they're literally one of Pittsburgh's top tech success stories here. I mean, these guys, they can consult on everything and anything IT, cybersecurity, HR. It's like a one-stop shop if you're growing your business. And I'm just so glad to tell their story today, talk about the acquisition and how that's really positioning for more growth here in Pittsburgh, which had us at the Tech Council just very excited. And joining me on the show today is Tim Nath and Bapt Buchet. So guys, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Really cool. And we're a big fan of the PTC and the things that you guys have done over the years. Happy to be a part of it.
Well, keep on talking, man. I like the way you go. Simple as that. Before we jump into things, just some introductions real quick.
Yeah.
Tim, let's start with you and what you do with Aspirant, a Wavestone company.
That's right. Get the tagline in there.
That's
I'm
right.
Tim Nath, a vice president of consulting. I've been with the organization 10 years, I think, in September. Just a couple of weeks ago was the anniversary. So
congratulations, man. That's a big
thank you.
in that industry. It's a big deal because people every couple of years flip through with new opportunities.
Absolutely.
Aspirant's doing something right when they're keeping people for 10 years at a shop.
Yeah, for sure. That's not uncommon either. But it's been a really cool ride, one that I didn't envision when I first signed on. We've been kind of all over the place. We'll get into a little bit of that here today. But anyway, the short summary, vice president of consulting. I joined the organization as a senior consultant 10 years ago, as I mentioned, have come up through various pieces of the business.
Bapt, you came in from New York, which is pretty exciting. So thanks for flying all the way in just for us here today.
Problem.
Yeah. At first, I thought you came right from Paris, and I was like, man, it's a long flight. You're like, no, New York.
What do you mean? I have a French accent?
Just a little bit. You don't seem like a native Pittsburgher or New Yorker to me, but that's cool. We like that. So welcome. Thanks. Tell us about yourself, Bapt.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Bapt, initially from France. I think I moved to the U.S. To the best city in the world. Let's put it that way.
New York.
New
Well,
York.
second best. That's cool.
Settle down. Know your audience.
Yep. 8 years ago, something like that. And I'm basically running cybersecurity for North America.
Fantastic.
At Wavestone. I've been doing that for a couple of years, and I think I'm going to be almost 14 years at Wavestone.
So when Wavestone took over Aspirant, we were excited because the depth and the bench you're bringing to this, and it's just like, talk about being on an international scale now, which is fantastic. So
Yeah, to put some numbers to it,
Tell
we
us
were
about
at the
that,
point of
right.
acquisition, we were probably just over 100 full-time employees with Aspirant proper, and post-acquisition with Wavestone, and Bapt will get into some of the details here, but we're close to 6,000 and globally. So
that's so amazing.
Overnight,
pretty
substantial change.
Overnight, big growth.
Absolutely, you could say that, yeah. With respect to the deal, so we officially closed that in January of this year. After really what was a full year of discussions, we were really thoughtful about whether this was the right move for us, and progressive conversations and getting to meet various folks in leadership at Wavestone and they meeting us. It felt right from the get-go for a number of reasons. And I think at the top of that, really the cultural fit, I think, stood out to a number of us from the get-go. When we think about kind of how we go to market and how we consult, there's something in the DNAs of both of these organizations that we say it a little bit differently, but one of our taglines has always been, we develop scalable and practical solutions, and we've never hidden from the practicality of how we go to market. And that might seem simple, right? But it's not.
No, that's
it's
tricky
not
stuff, actually. Absolutely.
It's not a universal truth across the consulting market to be practical and specific to your individual customer. Wavestone, I think they said something to the effect of we're the consultants who get things done. And so we see that same sentiment. And from there,
the vibe was there, man.
Yeah, and through all the progressive conversations, it just made sense. So, here we are today.
Absolutely. And it's Cybersecurity Month, which is a big deal.
That's right.
Man. No, I'm one of those where we can never have too many conversations around cybersecurity because I feel like it's so foundational to every company. I don't care how big or small you are.
Sure, yeah.
And that's what I love about Aspirant. You guys have worked with big guys, you work with the small guys, and everybody in between, which is great. And you bring the expertise to the table that you just can't find any place. And cybersecurity is so important, and that I love having a month where we can kind of focus on that because we got to keep, even the most basic stuff, we got to keep drilling in. So Bapt, I'm glad to have you here today and talk about what's going on with cybersecurity because I think about the expertise and the team that you have just flows right into Pittsburgh here, which is fantastic. So let's talk about what's cooking when it comes to all things cybersecurity with Wavestone. Because at some point, I guess in the next few months, Aspirant will be known as Wavestone at a certain point.
Yeah, we officially transitioned. So just to kind of finish out the kind of relationship in the early months here, we'll run as Aspirant, a Wavestone company for the next couple of months. We were really intentional about how aggressive we wanted to be with the full integration. And so the term that we kind of adopted was we'll pursue what we call a loose integration. We'll go to market, we'll be collaborative in sales and approaches to clients, but some of the hardcore back office stuff, everybody was kind of okay. Not the right time. We'll get there when we get there.
Gotcha.
So, as an intro to the cybersecurity practice, with respect to some of those offerings, right? We've got things that we very neatly collaborate on, some new things that we brought to the relationship, and cybersecurity is one of those things brand new where we didn't have a whole lot of conversation to be had with clients around cybersecurity. So excited to be with Bapt and his colleagues and have that kind of be part of our offerings, which are brand new for us.
So I think a great point here before we go to break in a couple minutes, Bapt, just set me up with some of just the basics as to what Wavestone has with all things cyber, and then we can come back from break and really talk about some of the trends you're seeing and where you guys really specialize. So you set the table for me.
Yeah, I mean, where to start, because cyber, it has been one of the most, one of our legacy practice. We started the company like 30 plus years ago, and cyber was already part of it. So that was not known as cybersecurity, that was known as infosec, network security, those kind of old school words. But we created the company with already some expertise on that. And right now, cybersecurity is 1 out of 6 people at Wavestone do cyber. So
wow!
It's 1,000
oh my
people.
Goodness!
That's pretty.
Okay,
huge.
That's some depth right there. When you got 1,000 brains and 2,000 eyes looking at that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we're so big that we decided a couple of years ago to create a global practice. So we have people basically in Asia, Europe, and North America working as one P&L.
That's so important when you have people around the world because you're seeing threats in different ways. I can imagine based upon where you are, but those threats. It's like the flu. It's going to get to your continent at some point.
We work with a lot of global companies, so having one unique company to be able to support that everywhere, it's super important for them. So, 1,000 people, we pretty much cover the whole landscape. I mean, with such a big team, so very technical topics, very strategy-focused topics, and everything in the middle.
I like it.
That's who we are in a few words.
Well, I'm very excited because when we come back, we're going to dive real deep into what you guys are doing around all things cyber because I want people to learn and know that, hey, they can come to Aspirant, a Wavestone company.
Absolutely.
Then I'll be saying just Wavestone. It'd be so much easier. Come on. I'm looking forward to 2025. But I'll miss saying Aspirant as well, too. But, hey, thanks for joining me here. This is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. In case you just joined us, we are talking to Aspirant. If you go to aspirant.com for now, you can still check them out and learn about all their Pittsburgh presence and all their fantastic services that they bring our tech community without a doubt. Once again, go to pghtech.org to check out the Pittsburgh Tech Council and how we love helping tech companies succeed. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Every company needs to attract and keep talented people. To do it, you need a strong company story told by those who experience it every day, your employees. So invite your people to be your brand voice and let the Kindling Culture Agency gather and ignite your stories to engage and attract your people. Learn how at sparksomething.big.com. That's sparksomething.big.com. Your dial is set to TechVibe Radio, brought to you by Compunetics, Chorus Call, Highmark, Huntington Bank, Kindling, PNC Bank, and Xavier. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. So glad you're spending Sunday morning with me here on TechVibe Radio. I'll tell you what, it might be early in the morning, but I am super fired up because I just get excited when I'm talking to our member companies at the Pittsburgh Tech Council. These are the companies that are just growing Pittsburgh. And if you just joined us, we are hanging out with Aspirant, a Wavestone company. Go to aspirant.com to check them out. And I tell you, we're having a great time hanging out with Bapt and Tim today. And guys, it's Cybersecurity Month, right? I mean, this is the month for us to really dork out. And rumor has it, 1,000 people at Wavestone as part of your cyber team, Bapt. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of people. That is some deep expertise. And we just got to jump in and talk about what's happening right now. I mean, around healthcare, around financial industries. Tell me, what's going on?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you mentioned it, but we do help like cross industries, but there are two of them standing from the crowd for sure. The banking and insurance field, just due to the exposure they have to cyber threats. It's been probably 10, 15 years that they are our top one clients, just because when you're a hacker, you have direct profit to hack them. You have money directly, so it's obviously the top one targets. But healthcare is right after. You probably heard recently the Change Healthcare.
Yes.
That was huge, and unfortunately, it's probably one of a long series that will happen because hackers can directly impact human beings.
That's like the creepiest part to me, and this is why I love having these conversations, because I want to get back at these guys and these girls that are hacking at us. Because when you talk about healthcare stuff and people's health records, and you can just do so many nefarious things with that and just make people terrified and bring whole health systems down.
Yeah.
It's just not cool. As simple as that.
And that's why they
it's
use
not good.
very specific attacks like ransomware, because they are asking money against whatever they stole.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's the second industry that is booming right now from a cybersecurity perspective. The level of maturity, since they are like a couple of years behind, is not that high. So still a lot to do, but that's why we're here to support them a lot on the different challenges they have.
Yeah, I mean, you make it sound simple, like the challenges. I mean, these are like big things where it requires that team of 1,000 people, which Tim makes me think that like, knowing that you have this bench that you can bring into Pittsburgh has got to be really cool. So you can tap into Bapt and his team when you have a client that's maybe a healthcare company that is needing help within these latest.
Absolutely, and to your point, where
issues.
it's one of those flash rod topics right now. It was uncomfortable to be in a position as a tech consulting company and not have a whole lot to offer. Right, we could take it to a certain point, but then it would be like, well, we've got partners, or let's think about pointing you in the right direction. Having that in-house now and being able to deliver a whole continuum of services, cyber included, is pretty seismically changing for our business.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Especially that the clients right now, probably 10 years ago, they were seeing cyber as a different thing, like cyber folks talking just cyber. Now there's the whole security by design concept, where whatever service you provide, you expect to have like a security by design, like secured service.
It's all baked in, not something you kind of attach on the end of it when you're done, but it runs through all the processes, all the business units, and everything like that,
and
right?
That's why what is very interesting merging with Aspirant is we could bring cyber expert in what they already do, and just to come up with sort of a combined service offering, which is super interesting.
This is why the acquisition just made so much sense for you guys, because they needed some of that cyber part of stuff with their clients. They had this nice clientele. They can plug you into that, and it just grows.
Yeah, and with that, I know you're kind of you've been struck by the size of the number of the workforce a couple of times during the conversation. I think it's nice to have that instant credibility, right? Because there are a number of people in this environment who are offering various services, some of which though haven't been around all that long and don't have the 30 years and 1,000 people to say you can trust the product.
Exactly.
But there's also all the manufacturing companies behind, where you probably heard a few stories, but now hackers are trying to leverage all the manufacturing plants to actually have impact directly on critical infrastructure.
We saw that here locally, yes, with the water supply nearby, which is that's just terrifying to me. Once again, it's like I want to hack back. Yeah. It literally drives me nuts.
For those kind of new industries that are new targets for hackers, we obviously try to get back to the basics, like the foundations from a cybersecurity perspective. While banking, insurance companies, they've been doing that for years, so we're more into advanced type of supports. Because also, like, they are targeted by more state level type of group.
Those are the first on their list, and they know that they're they're hot potatoes out there the entire time. So I can't believe this. Like, the 2025 is almost here, which is just crazy to me. And once again, it just seems like cyber is always evolving. I mean, it's not just yearly. Like, what's hot for 2025? It's more like what's hot this week. Yeah. But what's like some of the bigger trends you're kind of seeing that are really kind of taking over as we do approach 2025? I'm thinking things like cyber resilience and zero trust. Something I've been hearing a lot of. What are you seeing out there, Bapt?
Yeah, I think it would be a mistake if I don't mention AI. Obviously.
No, please. How
so
can
I'm
you
gonna
say
do
that?
it.
Made it
Do it,
some minutes.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like AI as any new technology, like cloud a few years ago, it's a new technology bringing new risk. So right now, the biggest topic, 100% of our clients are like, what should I do with that? What risk is going to bring in my company? A couple of examples, obviously, it brings privacy issues. It brings potentially, if you inject in the different algorithms some wrong data, you will have wrong outputs as well. So it's a lot of things that we need to secure and control. So we're helping a lot of clients trying to put sort of a security framework around AI and making sure they can get the benefit, but in a secure way. That's one thing. You mentioned cyber resilience. That's a very important one. I mean, you've been hearing ransomware across the board, across industries, everywhere. Cyber resilience, it's very simple, is how can I, before, during, or after an attack, be prepared? Trying to avoid it, but if it hits me, what should I do? And once everything is done, how can I rebuild faster? And
exactly.
So it's the whole program that you have to put together to be more resilient against those kind of destructive attacks. So
that sounds so important to me. Just the idea that you're looking at all angles of it. So no matter what you do, I mean, something can happen. So knowing no matter what you're able to react and it's the best way possible to minimize the damage, I guess, right, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. And you also mentioned zero trust. So, I mean, those past 10 years, companies try to implement different ways of seeing security, we call that security models. And a couple of years ago, the thing was, okay, I'm going to secure the perimetric, like all the walls. But once you're inside, it's free, it's open. Right now, we go to a zero trust model where the goal is more, you never trust, you always verify. Whatever data you access, whatever people you're talking to through the chat. So it's a whole new concept of security, and we're helping organizations to transition from the old school model to this new zero trust
I've been hearing a lot about zero trust, and it makes 100% sense to me, and there's no exceptions. That's the only way you can really lock stuff down. Like, there's a lot going on out there, which is why I'm glad there's companies like yours out there. So if I'm a company, I know that because these are not things you handle yourself. You don't read Cybersecurity for Dummies over the weekend and say, I'm going to lock my company down. You go to a company like Aspirant. So got about a minute or so left, Tim. What are your thoughts? Obviously, as you guys are moving forward, it's been a year now that Wavestone acquired Aspirant, and the idea that you're going to be a Wavestone, fully Wavestone in the next few months.
I think we're all really excited about it.
Totally.
I think 2025 will be a much bigger year for a fuller integration. And it's funny, every time these acquisitions happen all the time, and everybody's first question is like, well, how did it go? And you're all getting run out of there. To a person, I think we're legitimately enthused and excited about the future together. And not only like I said, the things that we can bring to the Wavestone portfolio, some of the management consulting offerings that they haven't had traditionally. Then in the middle, where we do a lot of tech strategy and execution work, where we've got component pieces of that we're going to put together into a comprehensive offering. And then on the back end of that, between sourcing and the cyber stuff that uniquely has been Wavestone, we've kind of got the best of the relationships where a lot of this stuff is coming together and say, let's go take it together. So looking forward to next year.
I love it. I've learned so much today. I mean, I've followed the acquisition since it was announced, and we even talked about when it first happened, but now to see it's been almost a year. You bring guys like Bapt here to talk about their 1,000-person bench they got there around cybersecurity. I'm thinking this creates so much opportunity here in Pittsburgh. I'm excited to watch Wavestone just grow big here in Pittsburgh. So great stuff, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Thank you for having us. This was fun.
All the way around. Hey, once again, just go to aspirant.com for now. That might change at a certain point in time once the full
no time soon, and you'll see there's
good.
a cybersecurity page on there with easy way to connect with us and that service offering. So
excellent.
Please do.
And after you do that, go to pghtech.org and check out all the ways the Tech Council loves helping your tech company succeed. This has been Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Tech Council. Have an awesome rest of your Sunday, everybody. Thanks for geeking out with us on TechVibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at Compunetics.com, Chorus Call at ChorusCall.com, Highmark at Highmark.com, Huntington Bank at Huntington.com, Kindling at TheKindlingAgency.com, PNC Bank at PNC.com, and Savier at Savier.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.